Hello and welcome to the Cesspool podcast, where we talk about anything and everything, no matter how disgusting or offensive. This is our fifth episode, and we'll still be introducing ourselves. Hello, my name is Tyler, and I'm with my other co-host Joseph.
Today we'll be talking about Amazon, the military, Sony, and E3. The first thing we'll be talking about is Amazon workers in Alabama voting against unions. Amazon.com incorporated employees in Alabama voted to unionize, handing the tech giant a victory in its biggest battle yet against labor organizing efforts that fueled national debate over working conditions at one of the nation's largest employers. uh, However, Amazon employees do not feel that Amazon has won. Amazon didn't win. Our employees made a decision to vote against joining a union, the company said in a statement. Amazon said it has worked hard to listen to them, take their feedback, make continuous improvements, and would keep working to get better every day. In a news conference Amazon organized Friday, a few workers from the Bessemer
Bessemer.
site, Bessemer, yeah, it doesn't matter. Site who cited against unionizing said the union hasn't offered a convincing argument. They called for change at the facility, such as added training for the managers, but said they could resolve issues with the company without a third party. More about blah 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 about unions, other people saying that it's good to have a union, Amazon saying we don't need a union. Wall Street Journal actually interviewed before the results were final. Um, it's just all just a weird debate about Amazon not wanting to have a union and some workers actually being convinced that not having a union is a good idea. So the questions here are: what is our opinion or your opinion in this matter?
Um, so it's kind of it's a bit of a double-edged sword because I don't like the fact that it is a win for Amazon. It really is because the unions they're kind of they're like I said they're kind of a double edged sword because when you're put into a union as an employee, you're kind of bound to it and bound to what it believes, not necessarily yours. It's kind of like a political party in that way. Um,
Yeah.
but a union has a lot of power over the company, and they get their way a lot more than like a smaller group of just employees at one particular location or even several locations. So for Amazon, it is a win because I mean it doesn't matter for the
Yeah,
work.
they get to keep a lot of their own power and management power.
Yeah,
I guess. Well, this is only Alabama, but I don't know. I feel like just having a union is so much better. You get like parts of your opinions are said, or at least fought against for
hmm
by a third party who does have more well, not leverage but more power over the company than
yeah,
you actually do yourself.
yeah. It's more of like a recognizable name. Even yeah,
Yeah.
it's more. They have a little bit more weight behind what they say.
Mm.
So I for
Yeah, because it's like
Amazon, yeah. Sorry, Fish.
it's because like if you think about it, when you don't have a union, the company has the decision to whether or not to listen to your opinion and be like, yeah, but I'm not gonna do what you want me to do. But then when you have a union, parts at least parts of what you said or believe what you believe is implemented or kind of put upon Amazon by the union.
hmm
It's not really Amazon's like choice anymore as much. It's more of the unions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's what kind of what I'm saying. For Amazon, like if you're in Amazon's position, yeah, it's a win. There's literally no negative to not having a union for them. But in the terms of the employees, it is kind of debatable whether it's a good thing or not, and it's kind of based on how much power you think as an employee or a group of employees at one facility or several in specifically Alabama in this case like have compared to an organized union with a lot of power and weight behind it. Probably um I can't think of the word like recognition, I guess.
Mm.
So, for the workers, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a win to not be
Yeah.
unionized. I mean, this was their decision. I can't really criticize them for that, because
Hmm.
it's understandable. But I don't know what their goals were. I guess I don't know if they were like trying to go
Yeah.
against Amazon, or if they just wanted. I guess they probably just wanted better hours or more money or whatever. So I guess for them, if I mean Amazon said they're trying to listen, they're taking feedback. So I
Yeah,
assume,
but
yeah,
saying it and doing it are two different things, and
that's fair.
Amazon lies a lot.
That's fair. That's very true. I mean, I don't like Amazon.
Just to make sure. Wait, yeah, sorry for cutting in, but I wanted to make sure my audio is fine, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
It's good. I've been watching the levels.
Okay, okay, yeah. I just wanted because you didn't ask me beforehand, so I was wondering.
It's okay. Um, yeah, I was just like, I don't like Amazon as a company. I really don't like their business practices. And one thing that, from what I understand, they do, I don't, I guess I don't know this for a fact because I don't work there, but like, from what I understand, if you work at Amazon, let's say you get hired in a distribution center, they will
Mhm.
forcibly, like, they'll fire you after 8 months or a year or something, just specifically to prevent you from gaining power in the company, which
Mhm.
is really not good. It's not a good business. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a smart quote unquote business practice from the business point of view, but it's a really terrible thing to do to the employees. And I'm sure there's reasons why they're not allowed to say that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it would help to take down Amazon more if they were unionized. But from their point of view, I guess they don't feel they need it, and that's fine. I guess. I don't know. What do you think? I've been talking a lot.
I guess I wanted to ask, like, this union thing goes all across the country, right? Because Amazon is all over the country, right?
Hmm.
So, the question is, the union has to please almost every state and every
Well, not
like
necessarily. A lot of times unions are regional, but I don't know what what particular union
yeah,
this
I
was.
don't I well yeah, I think that's just the fault of us not researching further enough.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like if they say here that the union doesn't give like a convincing argument, I guess there are some parts to the union that did um fail in that in that department where they should have kind of convinced some people into uh liking the union.
Yeah, I mean,
But
clear.
it's clear that
Hmm.
more people like the idea of not having a union, which is kind of, I feel like that's kind of weird. I've never really seen a lot of people not like unions, especially employees.
Yeah,
Like they usually want to have a say in their own in their own union or through the union to kind of change things in the company.
yeah. That's usually the goal, but clearly this union didn't like it didn't have the same beliefs that these workers wanted, so it didn't make sense for them, which I guess that's understandable. That makes
Mm,
sense.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's not much to say for this. But I did want to ask if you think that so for like Amazon, right? If this is to happen to like even a big company
Hmm.
like Amazon, since Amazon is kind of like an example, or like since it's like one of the biggest companies, right? Especially for like as a tech giant.
Uh-huh.
Like, would you think that this would influence any other companies to kind of
Try to.
refute union? Yeah, try to
Mhm.
follow in Amazon's footsteps. Because I feel like not like hmm. I don't know. I feel like some Amazon workers have like like a not a vendetta, but like so like I don't know how to explain it, but you know when like companies can sometimes, sway them with money or,
Yeah. Well,
like
I
with other
mean,
benefits?
hmm well,
Like
that's
saying that, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's usually what they want is money or better hours or better working conditions. So yeah, if they give them what they want, then they have no reason to join a union.
Yeah. That's what I like, yeah, that's what I'm saying is like if they have what they want, there's no need for a union. But then again, when other complaints rise up, Amazon can just say no, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I think in this case, it would have been smarter. In the bigger, I guess as someone who doesn't particularly like Amazon, it's kind of funny. I barely buy anything on Amazon. I know people who like. I know a lot of people buy literally everything on Amazon. I don't know if it's just me, but I either will just like if it's groceries or something. I'm not gonna order that on Amazon. I'm sorry, but like
Yeah, why would you get
no, people do. I
your
mean, people or like Whole Foods. That Whole Foods is part of Amazon. Like I'm saying, if you order it, because like you can do that. You could.
and nah, I don't
I
order.
don't
Like
do
we
that.
only
No.
yeah, I only order things that I can't get from shops. For example, like if because Best Buy is so far from us, and like normal tech stores that we want to get something from is kind of like too far, and we don't want to go. Then we'll just buy it on Amazon and stuff like that. I think that's why Amazon, is so big, is because nobody wants to leave
It's
their
just people
house
are
when they
lazy.
buy
Yep. No,
things.
it's simply because people are even lazier than they already were. I don't
Well,
know.
it's not just lazy, right? It's convenient. Like just because it's
Convenience is
convenient.
convenience is an excuse for laziness.
Not what you mean. That's like saying a car makes it so that people are just lazy, that they don't want to
Well,
run or
okay.
walk.
No, no, no. Well, that's situational. Okay. Like going to the store, if it takes 20 minutes to go to the store, I'm saying, well, Best Buy. How far is Best Buy from here? Like half an hour or something? I guess. I don't know. I also me, I'm really impatient, so I'll go, 40 minutes to a specific store because I want that thing that day. I don't want to wait overnight. I don't know.
Mm.
If I order stuff online, it's specific stuff that Amazon definitely doesn't have. And if I've ever looked at it on Amazon, they don't have it because it's like a very niche type of product. Because I'm weird
Mhm.
and like niche products. I've ordered
I see
stuff
what
on
you're
Amazon.
saying.
I'm not going to say I've never ordered on Amazon before because I have, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't very much.
Yeah, when I become impatient about stuff, yeah, I definitely go to the shop and just buy it. But I guess Amazon does have things you can't normally get, Like
Oh
since
yeah.
they ship all over the world, and it's like, well, not all over the world, but yeah, they're helpful. Like I can get stuff that I usually can't get from other places.
No,
So I mean,
yeah.
it's like super helpful. So I'm not, yeah, I don't think it's per se lazy. I think,
It
yeah,
depends.
obviously
It depends. I
yeah, it
think.
depends on who you are and how you use it, right? It's
Yeah.
not the tool that's lazy. It's you who use it who's
hmm
lazy.
Yeah.
So
I
it's kind of like that gun argument where it's like the gun is the problem. It's not really the gun's problem. It's the person who holds the gun that's the problem.
yeah. I mean, you mentioned cars. Like, no, what I would argue with cars is like, okay, um, like if you need to go on an hour drive, like let's say it takes 30 minutes to drive somewhere, that's
Hmm.
much longer if you're walking. So
Yeah.
it isn't practical at this point in our technological advancements. But like if it takes 10 minutes to walk somewhere, um,
Hmm.
you could walk it. You could. It's
Yeah, I mean,
easier
there's
to
a ton of
drive,
kids.
but like you
Yeah,
could
there's a
walk.
ton of kids in our school that actually just drive to school when they could have just in fact walked. Like
I,
school is right across from me, so I can walk to school, but sometimes I just get a drive because it's either really too cold outside or I'm just like lazy. So yeah, it really depends on how you use it.
yeah, I mean, like okay, before I had a car, but to be fair, no, actually, by the point I had the car, I was out of that place. But um, for the first 2 years of high school, yeah, I walked to school. It took like 20 minutes. It was all uphill walking there in the morning, and I did it pretty much through like all conditions, except if it was like really pouring. But I did it like through snow, rain, really cold, hot, whatever. It was mostly because I didn't have a choice, but you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But I've actually heard a rumor about Amazon and why like they're always in need of workers.
Uh
I
huh.
don't know if this is true, but apparently like what they would do is they sell well like so they hire people, right? But then they'll fire them like as soon as they kind of start trying to
I
want
said
have.
that. I did
Oh, you
men-
said that?
I did say that. I
I
think I told you
literally,
that.
yeah, I was wondering.
I
Yeah.
mentioned it like maybe 15 minutes ago.
Did you actually? No,
Yeah.
wait.
Or
You did
not
not
15.
say that to me.
I literally did in this episode. I literally said in this
Oh
episode.
no, I knew this before this episode,
I
but
know, but
it doesn't
I
matter.
think we mentioned it, or I talked to you about this 100%.
Okay, yeah,
I
all
don't
right.
know, but yeah, no, the fact
Yes,
that they
yes,
will
but
hire
that has
people,
happened.
like they'll hire people and then fire them before they can advance in the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, is that true though?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Okay,
because
okay.
like we
Yeah, I heard
do.
it. I heard it from someone, but I don't remember who it was. So it probably was you.
Yeah, because
Probably
like
like off recording, probably playing
mhm.
Minecraft.
Because like we do legitimately have an issue with jobs in America, and
Hmm.
Amazon seemingly always is able to provide that. Like they're always advertising that they have jobs available, pretty much. And
Hmm.
yeah, that is basically the way they do it in a lot of cases. I'm not saying that that's the case all the time. Like if you work for Amazon, you're going to get fired after 9 months, but it does happen, and that is how they keep their supply of jobs of job availability. And
Yeah, that makes
it's
sense.
messed up. It is.
It's weird that not a lot of people talk about that though.
Yeah, well, Amazon doesn't want you to talk about that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
I mean,
pretty.
I do have an Alexa right on top of my
Oh, it definitely hurt
on
you.
top of my desk.
It's gonna go transmit to Jeff Bezos, and he's gonna,
Yeah,
you know,
he's gonna send assassins and he's gonna kill me.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean Jeff Bezos is like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people hate on Jeff Bezos
it's
because
not
he
really.
hasn't he doesn't really do philanthropy that much like at all actually. He
Yeah.
doesn't like you know what I mean. But I feel like um I don't know. I don't feel like he's like a lot of people hate him and stuff. Like turn him into like this demon almost, right?
Uh
This
huh.
scary monster. But I feel like he's just a normal dude that actually worked really hard because like if you read about what he did, he started out like as a like as like
Like
a bookstore almost, like a
yeah,
virtual bookstore where he
like in his
like
garage.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he like worked like a ton to get to where he is. So like I kind of respect him because obviously a lot of successful people need luck. Like a lot of successful people don't talk about it, but like half the time you need like a ton of luck,
Oh
right?
yeah, one
Like
hundred percent.
you have to obviously you need to have the ambition to kind of monetize or kind of take advantage of that luck or that moment that lucky moment you had.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they need a ton of luck, and I think Jeff Bezos had compared to all the other ones that are like famous now had the least amount of luck. I think he worked like for couple years on his like dead like on the bookstore thing that was all like on the brink of bankruptcy all the time.
Uh huh.
And it was like by he was it was by himself. He like would ship it by himself. He would like package it himself. Like he did everything by himself at one point. And then he would, later hire people, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, it's kind of it is a
It's cuz
very
it's cuz people are just jealous of people who have stuff.
it's yeah, that's a very classic American success story. it's kind of a modern day Vanderbilt or Carnegie story, or Rockefeller, I guess. But Rockefeller was, yeah, or any of
No,
like
no, no. All the
turn of the
yeah, all
century,
the
turn of the
yeah, a
century
lot of people
moguls.
became like super rich from being lucky or working really hard. Carnegie was like he had a ton of luck as well. Like obviously it doesn't mean he didn't work hard. It just means
No,
he
debatably, yeah, no, I don't know. I think Rockefeller was probably the luckiest out of all of them because he was sitting on a
yeah,
gold
but
mine that he didn't know was a gold mine at the time,
well
meaning
yeah.
oil originally.
Yeah.
I'd say,
But like I'm yeah, but I don't think I mean compared to everyone else they were the most lucky, you know what I mean?
yeah, no, I'd say Vanderbilt was probably the hardest working because, like, from what I understand, and it's not a lot, but like he started a ferry company like in New York, or he started like
Yeah,
he
he like started off with like a weird business and then he
so
like decided to go into railroad.
yeah, so apparently the story is that he worked for his uncle, or something. He worked for a family member, and then like the family member he bought like this little boat from, and he started doing ferry crossings, and he slowly built the business into like an army of ferries, and he was like the ferry master in New York City. No, he was, and
Yeah.
then he was like he saw like the railroads and he's like I can buy this now. I must own this. So he bought them, and through a lot of business stuff, blah 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 business stuff, he owned like he was literally king of railroads until he died, and richest guy at the time. So I mean,
No, I remember Carnegie being the most richest.
Vanderbilt died before Carnegie. I said at
Oh,
the
okay. Then
time.
I don't know. I don't know like everyone. I remember studying about Carnegie
Hmm.
back in 8th grade, so I know more about him than anyone else. Like,
He was
dude,
an interesting case, I will have to say.
Carnegie went to like Ireland, back to
Yeah.
Ireland for like a while, and then he came back. Like, there's a ton of like stuff where he like goes back and forth from Ireland back to America.
Uh huh.
He had like a ton of um I can't say identity crises, but like he liked to focus a lot on his time on Ireland, like back at his hometown almost.
Yeah.
He did a lot of stuff back there. He also sold his entire steel company to JP Morgan,
Yeah,
right?
JP.
He sold
Yeah,
it to JP
Morgan.
Morgan and became one of the richest men in the world during that time. He was super rich,
Oh
dude.
yeah. Oh, I know. I know. Oh, he was
It's
smart. I mean,
insane.
he played the game smart because he didn't like piggyback off of something. He created something new, which was
Mhm.
steel. Kind of an important thing. I don't know if you know about it. Little known building material that is, it's used
Yeah,
once in a
exactly.
while.
Yeah, I think his company called was Carnegie Steel,
It was
right? That's what it
Carnegie
was called.
Steel, and then when J.P. Morgan bought it, it became U.S. Steel, which is still
Uh,
a thing today. Still a
really?
very big steel company.
Wait,
It's
I want to
like
look this up.
it's like the
U.S.
only
Steel.
yeah U.S. Steel. It's like the only thing keeping Pittsburgh alive.
Hell yeah. It's dropping in stocks though.
Yeah, well, just because it's still alive doesn't mean it's
Unfortunately.
successful.
Hmm.
But yeah, an interesting thing I know about Carnegie, which I find, yeah, I'm gonna repeat myself, very interesting, is I don't know if you ever heard of this. It's called the Johnstown Flood.
Hmm.
So basically, what happened was Carnegie he had this dam. He built a dam uh,
Hmm.
on a lake in Pennsylvania, so that it was like an artificial lake basically, and
Yeah.
he built like like a clubhouse, and it was mostly managed by the second in command of Carnegie Steel. His name was Henry Frick, and
Oh yeah, I remember him.
so they didn't build the dam very well. The dam was not
Hmm.
particularly well constructed. I forget like
Hmm.
exactly the issues that went wrong with it, but basically, like there was a steel town at the bottom. It was a Carnegie Steel town. It was a
Hmm.
basically its entire economy revolved around the steel plant. And
Yeah.
basically the dam broke one day, and it completely like flooded the town. It was like caused almost $500 million in damage in today's
Hmm.
money.
Yeah.
Killed like 2,200 people. It was like a really big deal, and it was a big PR blunder for Carnegie, even though it was technically.
Yeah, I think he got really mad at Frick.
Yeah, well, nobody liked Frick. I mean, if we're gonna talk about Frick, you got to talk about the homestead strikes. You know,
Hmm.
when he literally hired like mercenaries to intimidate the strike workers at the Homestead steel plant, and then they just like opened fire on the strikers who were unarmed.
Yeah, yeah, that was like a whole issue, dude. Because I remember learning about that separately. Like that
Mhm.
wasn't even like something that we like. That was like it part of the curriculum. It was insane.
No, that was a ridiculous story, and it was actually really funny because afterward, I
Hmm.
forget who it was. I guess it was one of the
Hmm.
workers or like somebody who worked for. But they tried to assassinate Henry Frick, and Henry Frick ended up killing the assassin after he got shot.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
I don't I don't know. He's a character.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Um, we can go to the next topic, which is about military. So
Yes, let's move on.
yeah, so 3M military earplugs blamed for hearing loss in large set of U.S. suits. So it's pretty much about soldiers starting to speak out about how they 3M. So the 3M is like this company that makes like masks, earplugs, and probably other stuff that I did not care to research about. But the main issue here is their military earplugs have not been blocking out sounds of aircraft, artillery, and the way they should have. They should have kind of blocked out uh sounds for aircraft and artillery, all these military sounds that can make your ears ring if you didn't have protection for your ears.
Hmm.
In fact, Staff Sergeant Benjamin Butler later developed premature hearing loss on one side of his ear, and the other side had a ringing sound known as tinnitus or tinnitus. I don't know how
Uh,
to pronounce that, but
Tinnitus,
it
I think. I think it's
tinnitus,
tinnitus. I
whatever.
don't know.
It doesn't matter. So Benjamin is one of 200,000 service members and veterans who are suing 3M, saying it knowingly sold defective earplugs that caused hearing problems. The first trial, which combines the cases of three Army veterans, have opened in federal court in
Pen-
Pensacola.
Pensacola.
Pensacola, dude, I cannot read today. I'm legit. My brain has died. And is expected to last through April. So obviously 3M, said uh obviously they said we did exactly the what the army told us to do, and said like they didn't know that it wasn't blocking out whatever.
Hmm.
So I wanted to hear your thoughts on the whole idea of like what 3M should be doing. What should the aren't 3M even be should be three I can't even speak. Should 3M even be blamed for this, earplug stuff, all that stuff?
I I think they definitely should investigate it, like do some sound testing. Um, I also I find it kind of interesting because like throughout history, I guess hearing loss was an issue. Like if you fought in wars throughout history, just from
Yeah.
like cannons and
It,
stuff.
well, but now it shouldn't be as expected. Like now we know what it does to your ears, so we try to get precautions for it. But
Hmm.
like if you are talking about back in like World War I to back in the older wars where we didn't care much about like after effects of soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like soldiers definitely had hearing issues.
Hmm.
Like they would always have like ringing in their ears. Some like their eardrums would burst, stuff like that.
Yeah. I think in this case, honestly, they should definitely like do some sound testing, like I said, and see if they are
They
really
should have.
defective.
Like I don't understand why.
I feel like
3M is like surprised about this.
no, I'm saying the army should like they should investigate and let's say it's true like right they're not working as intended, then they should just
Mhm.
contract it to another company. I don't understand like especially if this has been going on for like a long period of time, just contract another company. I don't see why they're like I mean like we know it's a problem but we're just gonna keep letting them do it. I mean I'm sure someone in the army knew about it. There's no way that this company literally just got away with it without any complaints ever to like a superior officer. I can't see it. I can't. The people
Mhm.
definitely in the army definitely
I
knew
feel
about
like
it.
I feel like multiple people are to blame, right? It's not only the army, it's 3M, government, just in general, right? It's like there's a whole issue of I blame the government the most out of everyone
Yeah, well, I mean, the
because
army is part of the government. Yeah, I mean,
well yeah, but like I'm talking about the federal government who's funding the army to do this. Like I feel like 3M if they funded them a little bit more because if you look at what their earplugs are, they look terrible. They look like just normal. They look like normal earplugs you put in when you like let's say you
like
I
go to
don't know
sleep.
when do you use earplugs?
Well, I'm looking at the military ones. They're a little bit more advanced than that, I guess.
So
They're
look
more
up
advanced.
3M
I looked up three. I looked up
earplugs.
3M military earplugs, specifically military. I mean, they're pretty basic, I guess. I don't know
Dude,
exactly
look at what
the
they look
science of
like,
these.
bro.
Yeah,
They look
I'm
like
looking.
normal civilian earplugs.
No, they don't. I know what those look like, and these are slightly more advanced than that. There's a little tiny bit more going on there, a little bit more, but it's not
Dude,
much.
it's just earplugs on both sides. That's literally what
Well,
that
there's like
is.
those rings. I don't know. There's definitely some physics involved that I don't understand, and I don't really care to learn. But
No, I get what you're saying. Like
I no
obviously
no. I
there
was
are
gonna say
cheaper earplugs, but like this is still not good enough.
no. I mean
Like
honestly,
especially
no. That's what I was gonna say. Like clearly, there's
cuz
something.
like I can see them wearing this for a handgun.
Uh
Like
huh.
if you're trying to block out like sound for guns, but when you're like right next like they should be soundproof checking these things for cuz what if like somebody's shooting an artillery? That's so much more louder than a gun.
Yeah.
And I highly doubt that this is good enough for that. And I don't think if a normal person saw that and said, "Yeah, you're gonna wear that and sit next to an artillery, shoot," then they're definitely gonna be like, "I don't know, man. I think I need more protection."
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
got that. I don't know. No.
even
Yeah.
even if it, we can say, we don't know as much about physics and all that, but from just looking at it, it already looks so poorly made.
Yeah.
Like it looks like I can. Why do I feel like I can buy those in a grocery store?
Probably could.
Like yeah,
I
like
mean, this is definitely a mass-produced product, so
yeah, it's supposed to be cheap and expendable.
yeah. Uh, I don't know. Yeah. So I would probably blame most of the parties involved, pretty much all both parties, meaning the military and 3M.
Yeah,
And
but
I
we're
know
not
that
blaming the veterans or the
no,
service
no,
members.
no, it's not their
We're talking
fault.
about like the people who are actually controlling the military fundings
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Whoever
I
like
guess
the
I guess
contractor.
yeah, I guess it's to the, to the people that are actually in control of the military, they don't care as much, right? Because it's just like
No, they're
to
not
them,
in the field.
yeah, and this to them it's just numbers. It's just like, yeah, if we use a little bit more money, it's just gonna be unnecessary to them. Like they just
Mhm.
wanted to give them the minimum funding with the minimum protection.
Yeah, pretty
I don't
much.
know. It seems, yeah, it doesn't seem good. And it's also like if you put it into your ear, right? It's just like yellow or like green things that just poke out of your ear and looks weird as hell.
Well, I mean that okay, practicality over function over visuals, but yeah,
No, but like again, like I'm pretty sure their helmets cover their ears, right?
Uh,
Like usually they buckle up, so like I'm assuming they have
okay,
like
yes, yeah.
so like that would you have where does the ends of those things even go?
Hmm. Um,
Right? Like cuz I'm pretty
I
sure
don't know.
military army helmets have like have like covering over their ears. Or do they not? They don't.
No, they don't really.
Why?
I don't know. It's not a ski mask
That's well,
or a
some of
ski
them
helmet.
do.
Some of them
Some of
do.
them
It's
yeah,
probably
others don't.
situational.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if they're not covering their ears, I guess it makes more sense.
Um, yeah. I mean that's basically all I have to say about that.
Yeah, me too. I
It's
mean, today, this week, just for everyone to know, there's literally nothing to talk about. The news has been dead. It's been so boring, and it's yeah, except the fact that the prince, the husband of Queen Elizabeth dying. That was, he was 99 years old. He was I think he was a prince of Greece, and then
yeah.
he became like he went into war. He became kind of like this not war hero per se, but he was like a veteran, and he was well honored. I don't
It
know how to
was
say that, but
it
he
was
was
respected.
respected, and
Mhm.
yeah. He died. I think when did he die? Today, right?
Died today at the time of the recording of this. So
Yeah, yeah. So,
the 9th of April. But
yeah,
yeah, no, it sucks. It's always bad news to hear that kind of stuff. Apparently, he was
yeah.
like a really he was really kind of uh like active. Like he really liked sports, and he always wanted like his family, like his kids, to grow up in like a semi-normal, like as normal of an environment as they physically could. So like, royalty usually, someone gets their bags, drives them around, opens doors
Mhm.
for them, cooks their own food. Apparently, like he had a kitchen installed in Buckingham Palace so that he could cook like their breakfasts, and like the queen
Mhm.
would make the morning tea, and like it was kind of funny. Like he would drive them around, he would open his own doors, take a he's kind of that kind of guy, apparently,
Yeah, I
from
mean,
what I read.
I actually agree with that idea though, right?
No, I
It's
do
like,
too.
yeah, it's like make your kids do what their, normal kids do
Hmm.
because
Like,
growing up with pompous things makes you just a spoiled brat, and teaching them to do things for themselves kind of gives them a drive, right? It's kind of like a parenting thing.
yeah, no,
Like,
they were trying to give them as normal of an environment. Like that's why they also, did their own stuff. Like they
yeah,
didn't have servants
personally,
around all the time. And I
yeah,
think that's just something.
personally,
Yeah.
if I was rich, I would dump my kids into a slum and make them live there for 5 years.
Just say figure it
That'll
out.
teach exactly. Nah, I'm joking. But yeah, I mean that's a good way to parent. I think
Yeah. I do
yeah,
think.
and he was the husband of Queen Elizabeth. I actually didn't know that like about that until, today.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know much about him, but yeah, he seemed like a pretty cool person.
Yeah. Oh, also he was a pilot. Like he would fly planes and stuff and sail.
Mm,
Yeah. But
yeah.
apparently he like, from what his son said, like as a father figure, he wasn't very good. He was kind of
Mm,
like a distant kind of father. He wasn't like super nice or attentive.
mm.
But I don't know. I guess that comes with the job. Apparently, he was like really crucial to keeping the family together. I don't really know the whole story. I'm not an expert on this, but yeah,
Yeah, I don't
it
know much
sucks.
about him either, so
But it sucks.
yeah.
It's bad. It's always bad news.
Yeah, it's always bad news when you know somebody that has died. All right, I need to go to the bathroom, so we're gonna go on a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. We're gonna talk about games.
TWA presents the difference between getting you where you're going and leading the way. Taking that extra step to make flying the best it can be. That's what makes TWA one tough act to follow.
And I believe that we are back. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So, video games, big news. E3 is returning to a fully virtual event this June, and it will be free for anyone to attend. So this is obviously a completely different type of style for E3, but it's obvious. But for obvious reasons, it makes sense for this particular year. And well, I mean, we'll see about next year. But you know, do you think this will be a successful press conference given the past E3s? Like, will this work as a concept?
How are they gonna do this? Are they just gonna do it virtual, right? Just
Yeah,
everything's virtual.
yeah, it's all going to be live
Didn't
streamed.
they do that for like game of the year and like all that stuff anyways
Yeah.
before?
Well, no, they
Yeah, I
did.
mean, because
Yeah,
I
this
remember,
past year it was virtual. Yeah,
yeah, because I remember watching game of the year and everyone like especially like the game developers, they were all on like Zoom calls and everything.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I feel like they can. I mean, I guess they can do it. I mean, I don't see them failing too hard on this since virtually gaming is something you can do virtually, right? It's not too hard to transfer
Yeah.
this event into a virtual event.
Hmm.
Obviously, I guess you're not able to actually, meet people and come to face with other people, try out the demos or whatever, but
Yeah, I was actually gonna
um,
talk about that in a sec, but yeah.
yeah, but I mean, other than that, I feel like everything else can go smoothly.
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, I feel like if they really, really want us to experience the demos, like the game devs can upload these,
Yeah,
demos to wherever they're gonna, finally put the games up, right? For example, if somebody had a demo for a game and they put it on Steam, like somebody can, get that downloaded for free and play the demo.
yeah.
So I don't see that as an issue. So I think E3 can be a successful, press conference or
Hmm.
overall event just virtually.
I feel like probably actually I'm just thinking about the E3 like the demos. E3 demos are usually very or fairly early in development, so I
Mm-hmm.
think I don't know if they put them like on Steam because people could have them forever. I think maybe they're gonna. I don't know exactly how they're gonna like live stream
Oh
it
wait,
out.
so they can't take it down or anything? Like
Well,
that's
from
just
Steam,
there
like if
forever.
it's in someone's Steam library, like they can take the files and keep it. Basically, that's kind of
Um,
kind of. I mean, you're not supposed to do that, but you can. You're downloading the physical game. You won't have the license to the game if they remove it from Steam. Actually, I think
mhm.
if you buy it, I'm not 100% sure how it works, but like when you download a game from Steam, you do have all the game files. You just need to get past the license issue because like when you buy a game on Steam, you're buying the license to play it. You're not buying the
Yeah.
physical product, but it's downloaded on your computer. So yeah, I think what they would probably do, I don't know, like if they're gonna live stream it or if they're just gonna have like separate live streams for different conferences because usually that's how they do it. Like they do conferences like in a row. Uh,
Yeah.
so maybe like they'll make their own site for. I mean, I know E3 has a website, but maybe they'll do like a special thing for it. I don't know. But the demos, yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I'm not 100% sure how they want to do that. Maybe they won't
Yeah.
care if it's like an early version of the game. I mean, some people find that stuff really cool to just keep as a like memory sake. But in the future when lockdown is over and the pandemic has passed, do you feel like they would consider to just continue to do E3 all virtually to save money, or or for other reasons, whatever? Like, yeah,
Uh, hmm.
it's I mean, E3 has kind of
Uh,
gone downhill recently, from what I understand.
uh, I don't know. I honestly, to be honest, I've never actually participated in E3 or know anything like a lot about E3, so I can't really say much about
I've
that.
never
Yeah.
been to E3. I've watched press conferences and stuff like
Mm.
after the fact, and I've seen reviews on it, and like the past few years it's been kind of rough. The press conferences have just not really been that great. It's
Mm.
been very forced, and there's been a lot of. I mean, there's always been E3 like cringe. That's kind of a classic staple of it, and I
Mm.
think that's definitely something that's going to be missing from a virtual event because they can plan for it
Mm.
much better than like a live show.
Mm.
Um, so, are you going to? Would you attend virtual E3?
Probably, since I've never actually experienced E3, like never gone there, never done anything there, so I kind of want to see what it's like, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, virtually, it's going to be a lot different from what normal E3 would be, but yeah, I want to definitely see what they present because I'm pretty sure on E3 they present new games and all that, right?
yeah. Sometimes new. I mean, not this year, but usually like it could be a new console, new games mostly, new
Mhm.
updates and whatever. It's
Yeah.
usually a big deal. It's also where it's usually where they show off demos and stuff. They're trying. It's a press conference. I mean, first and foremost, it is a press conference. Although it's become
Mm.
more of like an actual live show at this point, but it is supposed to be a press
Yeah.
conference. So,
Hmm. Wait,
uh,
what does E3 even mean?
it's
Like,
like
what does that even?
electronic. Oh, it's Electronic Entertainment Expo, I think.
Uh,
Entertainment Expo. Yeah, yeah. E3. There you go.
E3. Yeah, that makes sense.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, that's basically all I have to say
I
about
don't.
E3.
Yeah,
It's kind of, I mean, it's cool. It's cool to know that it's coming back because I feel like E3 is a staple of like the summer for people who play video games. So not
yeah.
having an E3 would kind of suck
It's
again
also kind
because
of like I think E3. Even though yeah, like I don't know much about E3, but I've heard a lot about it, and there's a ton of memes on it about like they shit on E3.
yeah,
But yeah, I think E3 is kind of like that. It's always like that new wave, right? The wave for the new stuff to come in almost.
yeah,
Like yeah, it's a good platform I think for companies to show off their new games or the games that are coming in production.
yeah. Whether they be good
It's like
games or
a
bad games.
yeah.
Fallout 76. That was probably the pinnacle of E3. The
Mm.
nightmare that was that. Because of how much they hyped it up. I don't know. I guess last year or 2019 when they had Keanu Reeves and Cyberpunk, that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm interested to see how they're gonna change it this year. Like if they're gonna make it seem like it's another live show, or if they're just gonna do what Nintendo does and just record stuff, make it like
Yeah.
more like
Don't even talk about
professional.
Nintendo Direct. Nintendo Direct, dude, only provides me depression.
Well, I know, but like the same style, like format of video, if they're gonna do something like
Hmm.
that, because if they do, I think
Yeah.
that would be very disappointing, honestly. Because the fun of
Yeah.
E3 is like the ridiculous crap that they try to pull every year. um,
Yeah.
but moving on. Speaking of big game companies or big game announcements, Sony has been reorganizing their studios recently, and the big project coming up is the remake of Naughty Dog's The Last of Us. Very big game.
Whoa, hell yeah. Woo, that's exciting.
This project was started by Sony's own visual arts service group, and it has more recently been moved. Oh, that's their in-house studio, and it's been
Hmm.
more recently moved back into the hands of Naughty Dog. So apparently, before the return to Naughty Dog, Sony was actually not providing Visual Arts Service Group the funding that it needed to complete the project, even though they were probably telling them, "You got to get this done." And then the studio was like, "We literally can't," and they're like, "Do it, or we're gonna give it back to Naughty Dog." Because apparently
Bro.
this was like a new studio that Sony like just kind of put together, and
Uh-huh.
I think that like the studio wanted to try to prove themselves, so they like went to Sony and they proposed this idea, and Sony's like, yeah, sure, go for it. You need to prove yourself as a company. I'm sure they want to create their own original titles and stuff, so this would be a big uh, step in the right direction.
Mhm.
But it was given back to Naughty Dog because Sony wouldn't give them enough money to actually make the game.
Mhm.
It's
I
kind
mean,
of
it makes
interesting.
sense. They don't wanna give like an experiment too much funding.
Well, it's not an experiment. I mean, these people are, they know what they're doing. It's a new studio, but the people in it are veterans. It's not like they're all brand new at their jobs.
Yeah.
So,
I
like,
don't know. Then I don't know why
it's
they
kind
would
of
not provide.
like the thing I relate this to is the mistreatment of employees at CD Projekt Red over Cyberpunk.
Mhm.
Because with that, it was a different scenario where the game was given probably an endless supply of money, but my god, they wanted that game to be done on time. So there were a lot of time
Yeah.
crunches and a lot of long hours.
And
How,
time cuts.
yeah. So like, how do you feel about this? This is becoming an issue in the industry in general. I'm finding, like,
Mhm.
to mention Fallout 76 again, apparently that the time limit on that game was incredibly short. Like they wanted that game out fast, and that's
Mhm.
one of the reasons why it was a mess. So, like, what do you think about this kind of notion that a lot of big developers are going with now, where they can just kind of treat their employees like trash?
I mean, I'm doing computer science. Like, I'm going into majoring into computer science solely for the sake of game development, and I've heard like that's a big issue. Like, I know about it. Like, I
Yeah.
actually seen a lot of game devs being mistreated. A lot of them, working like extra hours to like fit like get this like deadline.
Hmm.
And this is not even like problems for smaller companies. It's always like
It's
those
the
big
big ones.
companies,
Yeah.
yeah, that like just want money and go like, you want to make this game good? Well, I don't care if this game is good or not. I want it done by this time period. So then
Yeah.
they start rushing it. And like, that's the issue, is like, people forget that games aren't
They
like
don't just
just
appear.
products that you it's not just products that you can just speed run and then just throw it out into the audience and they'll just all eat it up. It's like art,
Yeah, it
right?
is. It is.
It is art. So like, art you can't rush. You can
Hmm.
never rush art, which like people forget. So especially corporate people who don't even understand what that is. So they'll just keep forcing deadlines upon deadlines upon deadlines on these game developers, and then they get mistreated, which I think is just that's literally the recipe to failure. That
Yeah.
ruins the game,
Yeah.
because
Uh,
then the game devs have to cut corners. They don't test run it properly, and
yep.
like all these they miss code sometimes, which will just make it into a glitchy mess.
Yep.
And it's just, yeah, like, don't rush them. That's not how this works.
Sounds like Fallout to me. Also sounds like Cyberpunk to me. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Cyberpunk was like a whole mess. Like, you can see
well,
people like
so was
holding.
Fallout.
I don't know much about Fallout, but I know like a lot of people complained a ton about Cyberpunk, so I know about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like some people were like in Cyberpunk, people are like holding items that were like 300 feet away from their faces,
Yeah.
like especially like cigarettes, like they'd be holding it in their hand, but the actual cigarette was like a couple inches away from their actual hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stuff like that. It was kind of funny.
I mean, it was funny, but like, yeah, no, the behind the scenes with both of those games was not good. It was not good at
Yeah,
all.
And then they get blamed for it, right? And then the game devs get blamed for those issues. Be like, why'd you do this? And then they go like, kind of because you kind of forced us to rush this game.
Yeah. So actually,
Yeah.
that reminds me. There's another kind of situation like that, which is really really bad. So have you ever heard? You know Silent Hill, like just like the series, Silent Hill.
No.
So it's a horror game series, and it was done by Konami, and
Mhm.
the guy who they were going, Metal Gear, like Metal Gear Solid, like those games, you've heard of them.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the guy who made those, his name is Hideo Kojima, and
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah.
yeah, so he worked at Konami for a long time, and when they were like, he had made the decision that, after Metal Gear Solid 5 or whatever, that was it. That was
Mhm.
going to be the end of the story. We're done. And at the time, he was working on another project called Silent Hills, which was going to be a brand new Silent Hill game.
Mhm.
And they released a playable teaser for it. It's just called PT. It's very very well known because it was like really really good. And
Mhm.
when I forget exactly the situation, but Hideo Kojima got fired from Konami, and
Uh-huh.
um, like over several disagreements, a lot of it probably control over like his intellectual properties. I'm sure
Yeah.
Silent Hills included. Um,
Mhm.
so they canceled Silent Hills, and PT was removed from like the PlayStation Store or whatever.
Mhm.
And apparently at Konami, like there was a lot of mistreatment of employees during this time. So Hideo Kojima left and he did Death Stranding, which is it's a game. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a good game, but it looks good.
Mhm.
Uh, but we never got Silent Hills, which was probably going to be the best horror game of all time.
Yeah.
Uh, and then they continue to make Metal Gear games without his approval.
Yeah.
Oh god. And
Yeah, that's a whole mess right there.
Jesus,
Bless you.
thank you. So yeah, and they removed Hideo Kojima's names from all the games. Like they just erased him from the company. It was like a really really terrible situation for him. But it's just another situation of just mistreatment of employees, even if it was a guy as influential as that. Like they didn't even care how important he was to the company, because he ended up just
Mhm.
founding his own studio and making better games than Konami does. And Konami makes kind
Yeah.
of terrible trash these days. But, but back to not Resident Evil, The Last of Us. It's to really get off topic because going behind the scenes. But they're making a full remake, not a re-release or a remaster. They're doing a remake of The Last of Us. Um, Do you think that will be more appealing for fans to buy the game again, essentially, than if it were just a
Uh,
remake or if it was just a re-release or a remaster?
I mean, I think hmm, this is hard because I mean the remaster and like just the reboot would hmm. I mean like just making it like, just getting the same game and making it new is kind of like I guess that would get some people to buy it, but I don't think it would do as well as the other options.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so I
yeah,
guess I would go with I would go with the other option in that sense since I think by if you make a new game of that same series, you
mhm,
not only are you bringing in the benefit of the name of that old series, but you're also giving them new content, which
yeah.
means not only old players will come back to it, um, but newer players will come get it. But again, the whole intellectual property thing where it's like who's actually owns that thing. I mean,
I mean, Naughty Dog, and they're the ones who are developing it. So I mean, yeah, you know,
yeah,
and it's
and there's like
apparently, yeah. No, you can
yeah,
finish.
No. Go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, apparently it's being developed like with the same engine and styling that they did for The Last of Us Part Two, which, despite its flaws, was a very nice looking game. So that will be
Yeah.
cool. That you what you were gonna say something before though?
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Um, yeah, but so The Last of Us, the original game came out in 2013. It's 8 years old, and it's getting a
Yeah.
ground up remake, like completely built from the ground up. It's not building off of any of the original game at all, like
Why
code
though? They
wise.
should just they should just redo Last of Us 2.
Well, they haven't.
Retcon
It's
Last of
only
Us 2.
well, like that's a different thing. Like, well, I'm talking about like from a development point of view. They're completely redoing the game. It's a complete ground up rework of the game.
Well, like are they just rebooting it then?
No, it's gonna be the same game, like, but it's
So
going
it is a
to
reboot.
it's the same thing, but there's gonna
Okay.
be like maybe some different mechanics, or it's the same story, same characters. The art style is gonna look debatably nicer. Uh,
Mhm.
it's gonna be probably more fluid. They're gonna fix some of the kinks that the original game had because it's a
Yeah.
ground up remake. It's
Yeah.
they're not remastering the original or anything like that. It's gonna be the same game when you play it. It'll all be familiar because if you played it before, you know what it is and you'll know what to do. It's all gonna be pretty much the same. It's just gonna be like
Yeah.
a much more optimized version. Um,
Mm.
but The Last of Us is only 8 years old, and it is getting this treatment. Now, Resident
Mhm.
Evil 2, for example, the remake of that game came out in 2019. The original game came out in 1998. So it took 21 years for Resident Evil 2, which is debatably a better game than The Last of Us. Don't don't at me,
don't don't attack me for this.
please, please. And it
Yeah.
yeah. So it took 21 years for Resident Evil 2 to get the same treatment. When do you
Hmm.
think a game deserves to get this like full like remake from the ground up treatment? Is it too early for The Last of Us to get this kind of rework?
I mean, 21 years is super long. Like that's insane, insanely long. Like by then, kids that have played that game are either super like in their adulthood or super old,
Uh huh.
and they kind of lose their old audience. I think if I'm talking about it business wise, it's a good idea to do it as soon as possible. Like I guess 8 years is a good time length if you're thinking about it business wise.
Yeah.
But if you want to get it dispersed to as many people, right? Like throughout the generations,
Yeah.
longer is better, right? Since like 21 years is really long.
It's
Like by then,
long.
like two generations have almost passed.
Yeah.
Or yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like
Like
one, two. It's
like one generation, it doesn't matter. But you know what I'm saying is like it reaches more people.
yeah.
So for the gaming community, it's good to have it like be spread apart longer, right? So then like people that come into the gaming community new that are pretty new can be introduced to this older game that has been refixed and more polished and modernized for the newer generation.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess there's two ways of thinking it. I'm gonna, I think 8 years is fine. Honestly, I don't see the problem with it.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it. I'm happy that it's happening, obviously, because it's a great game and it deserves the treatment. But like, um, I don't know. I feel like the game in its current form is perfectly playable. Like, I think in my opinion, a game deserves a full rework, full from the
Yeah.
ground up, brand new engine, brand new code, everything, redo
Mhm.
when it is like at the point where it's so old that it's unplayable, which is kind of what happened with Resident Evil 2. And they did the same thing with Resident Evil 3 actually. They did that the year later. I don't know like how much of a time difference it was between the original
Yeah.
and the remake, but it's like the same kind of thing where
Yeah.
it like those games are old and they look at like they didn't age well. The
Mhm.
Last of Us aged very well in my opinion, and it had a more interesting art style than Last of Us Part Two. Because Last of Us
Mhm.
Part Two is just like it's hyper realistic, which is it's great. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
But the original, like, it was stylized a little bit. It wasn't like
Yeah.
perfectly, and that was because it was put out on the PS3, and
Mhm.
hardware limitations made it so it had to be either not very great looking, or you had to stylize it so it would at least look okay. And they did a
Yeah.
great job of doing that. I don't think it needs a redo yet. Like, maybe give it
Mhm.
another generation. I'd say like another console generation, maybe 4 years. But like, I don't know. I think if they, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, at least who like really like the series, yeah, they're gonna buy this. I get that, but just like a casual fan, if they have the original game, I can't imagine them spending another 60, or now I think it's gonna be $70 on a video game that they already own. It's the same issue I
Yeah.
have with Nintendo re-releasing Wii U games, except this had
Yeah.
more work put into it than that.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's kind of all I actually have to say. But I don't know if you have any other thoughts about this, but
I guess what you're saying is makes sense. Like, wait for another generation since other people won't buy it if they already have the game. But I think 8 years is enough because, like, if you think about it, by 8 years there's a new console. So like new gamers or people that come in recent like that get the new console
yeah.
won't have the older console that can play this game.
Well, PS4, it came out on PS4 too.
Oh, okay, then it's fine. Then I don't care. But you know what I mean? Like there are some games you can't play once you
Oh, I
don't have
know.
that
Oh,
console.
I know.
Like
I
kind
know.
of like Nintendo where like they did that reboot. We talked about it in the previous episode about how if the 3 pack of
The
Mario
3D All
games,
Stars. Yeah.
yeah, the 3D All-Stars were, worth it or whatever. And I argued that it's good for, for people who don't have the other consoles.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
yeah.
because for me, I never got to play some like Mario games since I didn't have those consoles,
Yeah.
and since in my family, like my parents don't really like me getting consoles, as much. Like I have more freedom now, but back then I didn't. So, having the company make reboots or put them on different consoles with it being more refurbished helps other gamers that weren't able to get those games before be
Yeah.
able to play it now. So it's kind of like targeting those kinds of people as well as newer gamers, right?
Yeah. I get it. I do. I do.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I think that like those games did need to be put on the Switch. I don't want to get into it really, but I'm going to. I think those
Hmm.
games did need to be put on the Switch. And I'm not saying, and in the case of The Last of Us, I'd be fine with them porting it onto the PS5. That's fine. Just don't make it
Yeah.
$70 for an 8-year-old game. Like, to make it like $40. Like, my God, it's a good game, so it's worth $40 if you've never played it before. And I'm sure runs it
Yeah.
looks great on the PS5, but like, I don't think I need a reboot yet, and then have to pay $70 for a game that I may have already bought twice because it came out. There was the remaster on PS4, but like
Yeah.
something like Super Mario Sunshine on the Switch, it was 18 years old when it came out, when it was re-released. That was the first time it had been re-released on anything
Yeah.
since it came out. Uh,
Hmm.
Super Mario 64, that's been re-released a million times on different virtual consoles, on the Wii, on the Wii U, eShop, whatever.
I mean, I think that's just like an issue with those specific
I think
for
that they,
Nintendo,
they
they
needed to
love they
remake
love
those
to
games. My God, they need to
for
remake those games.
for Nintendo, it's kind of like they have an issue with that, right? Is like they love like remaking games.
Or just re just
Oh, or
porting,
rebooting it.
porting,
Yeah, yeah,
porting,
yeah.
porting, not
Yeah,
remaking.
porting the games. They don't really like to make new games as much. They've gotten lazier by
They've gotten
every
lazier with their success.
yes.
Like, and we got a tease of what 64 like on the Odyssey engine would look like. At the end of Super Mario Odyssey, we go to to Peach's Castle from 64. It's literally a remake of it in the Odyssey engine. They definitely could have made like 64 completely redone, like brand new, and not looking painful in 1996 times. But no,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't even make it widescreen. They made Sunshine widescreen, but they didn't make 64 widescreen. I don't like.
Yeah.
It's weird. It with that game, it's like they tried, but they didn't. Like they put in some work. They made games widescreen,
Mm-hmm.
updated textures, changed like button layouts and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Updated some sprites, made the games
Mm-hmm.
run nice, pretty okay. They made them HD, whatever. So like they put work in, but then they didn't. Like they just it's the same. It has a lot of the problems, or they remove the problems that people liked. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, I don't know. Nintendo has like has too many issues to talk about. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
We You want to move to the next topic?
Sure, sure.
This is school life, pretty much our daily
Oh
lives.
boy.
We've been talking about it before recording, but I wanted to kind of, bring it back to connect with our audience, almost, right? Relate to them.
Sure.
So, how's school going for you, Tyler?
It's interesting. So I'm sure everybody knows the famous crunch time before breaks. Um, as someone who is still learning all virtually, it's been pretty easy going, until this past week, because as of the recording of this video, this was the last day that we had before our uh, spring break, April break, whatever you want to call it. I guess for some people it's March, so spring break. And that's when they start crunching. They start time crunching. They're like, guys, you got to finish all these assignments. Just do it. Just get. I'm gonna. You got an essay. Read the book. Do everything. Just get it all done. I need to put the grades in. Please, God, do it.
No,
And
they don't even say please. They just
no, they don't
order
say
you to do
please,
it.
but that's what they're saying in their mind because they're definitely also behind on grading stuff.
Mhm.
Um, so that's always a pain. Um, dealing with that kind of stuff, it sucks, and it I don't necessarily blame the teachers, but they definitely and we run into this problem. This is a classic problem that everybody runs into, and it definitely could be managed better if teachers managed like the assignment times better.
Yeah.
Like instead of doing four things this week, why not spread it out over these 4 weeks or whatever? or like
Yeah.
or like they'll introduce an assignment at the beginning of the week before break, and oh yeah, this is like a really big project, but you guys got a week to do it. You don't have anything else going on, like other classes doing the exact same thing or anything like that.
Yeah, they do that all the time, dude. I literally had an essay that she did not tell us the deadline for until like 2 days. And I had to write my essay. Like, obviously some part of it is my fault, right? For not figuring that out. But I didn't know that the rough draft was due last Friday and the essay was due this Friday, since like I found out yesterday.
Yeah,
I had to write that essay all night. I have PTSD.
yeah, no, it's definitely it's an issue of teachers in a lot of cases. I'm not going to say all teachers, but in a lot
Well,
of
yeah, not
cases.
all teachers. That's stereotypical.
But like in a lot of cases, teachers, and maybe it's to their own discretion, they literally just don't really understand the concept of other teachers giving similar work. Like they think they're kind of isolated in their situation of either being behind
Yeah.
or wanting to get like a lot of stuff done in a small amount of time. But
Hmm.
this issue comes up. It's classic. Everybody knows it. Um, Apparently, teachers haven't really learned it, or maybe they have, and they're just ignoring that it's a problem, which is a problem in itself, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of been my pain. It's been my pain this past week.
Dude, everything has been my pain this week. I literally have experienced things that I've never experienced before. For example, I have never experienced this much level of stress in my entire life. I
Yeah,
had to juggle my AP studies, my schoolwork, and like all these other things all just like combined into this stress that I could not handle.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually like I think I had a mini heart attack like every time I started schoolwork.
And then of
It's actually
course there's like certain teachers, who you dislike or like, but
uh,
mostly
you
dislike.
have a ton of those.
I do. I have to say, yeah. I'm not gonna say any specifics or a certain number, but yeah, they're out there. They're definitely out there.
I don't actually have that bad of teachers. I have really good teachers, so I'm actually kind of happy the way it worked out. It's just they just give you a lot of work.
Yeah, and I'm not saying all my teachers are bad. They're really not. That's
Yeah.
that's unfair to say, to be totally honest. Um,
Mhm.
but they've existed in the past, and I'm not gonna say they don't exist now. It's
Yeah.
always kind of an issue that people have, and you know what? It's probably down to preference of like learning style or just personality. If personalities just don't clash well, or whatever the case is, that people just either
Mhm.
don't get along, or one person just dislikes the way the other operates. Like maybe a teacher who I don't like. It's not that I don't like them as a person; it's that I don't like their teaching style, or it's just maybe they just don't really understand the way we as young people operate these days. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like
No,
teachers.
I think well, yeah, there's a ton of reasons why, but it's like a big reason I think is because they just forget. They forget what we're going through, and they just kind of only focus on the way they've been, that they've been experiencing, and they kind of forget that we as humans also struggle on other things, because it's easy for us to forget what other people are experiencing and kind of just focus on our own things, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, I think that's a huge issue with just overall authority figures. Like they forget that that people that they're like influencing or giving um work, right, is being affected by what they're doing.
yeah,
So
and I that also comes down to an issue of just the curriculum, the administration, and the style of teaching that is being like promoted in schools these days. Or it's been an issue for a long time. To be fair, I mean we're not
mhm,
number one in education, not anywhere near number one in education,
mhm,
and
yeah,
it seems like people, or the people who are in charge, are just kind of okay with that. They don't want to strive to be better. It's kind
mhm,
of up to the individual schools to try to be better than the
yeah,
status quo, which is not good. And
mhm,
that's great that schools are like they want to achieve like more success than what is asked of them, which is very
mhm,
little and very outdated. But
yeah,
it doesn't solve the issues that are always kind of present because of the way our curriculum is set up.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's anything about your daily life you want to talk about, Tyler?
Not really. It's been pretty boring here. I went to an abandoned hat factory on Wednesday. Uh, went upstate. That's where it was. It was upstate, up the Hudson River,
Mhm.
which is nice. That was a nice day. That was my little break.
Oh, wait, we should talk about the updates on our horror skit, our horror short.
Yeah, it's more interesting than me talking about a hat
Yeah,
factory.
yeah,
I gotta say
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, yeah. So what happened was, me and Tyler went to this area. It's like this abandoned mental hospital. It was kind of like this giant uh plot of land that had a ton of mental, like it had some dark history in around it. It also has a ton of graffiti. When we went there, there's just a ton of
Well,
graffiti.
it's actually not
um
as bad as other places, to be honest.
well, yeah, I assume that, but like it's still like I was surprised by like the amount of graffiti there they got away with, since there's always like a police car patrolling around that area.
Yeah.
Me and Tyler saw a group of kids go into one of the main buildings of the actual mental facility, which was, and then they just leave without getting in trouble at all. They walk past a police car and they just get away. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Now I want to make it clear that the way this property works, which is very bizarre to me, and I don't really understand why it's like this. So the grounds of the property, like a certain area of the property, because there's like 150 acres or something, but a particular plot of land, a section of buildings, was designated as a public park. Okay, fine. But they left the buildings there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can walk around the grounds. That's fine. Whatever. But you can't go in any of the buildings. And if you go in any of the buildings, you're gonna get arrested. And okay, so you're gonna let us onto the property, and you're just gonna like, how are you gonna really manage that? It's like, oh, we'll have a police car drive around. Oh, okay, that's just kind of weird. I don't know, like the way that I can't imagine like the town meeting. They're like, so we have this abandoned area of the facility. What do we do with it? And they're like, make a park. Oh, that's genius. Yeah, it's a great idea. So we'll demolish the buildings.
They also made part of the abandoned
no.
building into a middle school.
Yes, they're like, that's another thing. The town is like, I can't, like, because that place closed in like 1996 or something. So I can't imagine like the whole facility closed, and they're like, okay, so what do we do with it? All right, yeah, we'll use it. We'll demolish some buildings. Let's build, a golf course. We could turn some of them into like a medical offices. Okay. Government offices, maybe like a rec center. Okay, yeah, that makes sense for like these particular buildings that served a similar purpose. And they're like, okay, so what do we do with like all of the like the patient buildings? They're fairly small, like dormitory type of things. They're like, well, we need a new middle school. See, and they're like, so what are you proposing? Well, I mean,
turn it into a middle school.
Let's turn it into a middle school. It's like, oh, so you mean like demolish the building? No, keep the buildings. No, there's nothing wrong with them. It's like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure there's like a lot wrong with them. No, it's fine. Just build the school. Just build around it. Integrate it. Do it. Just do it now. So
just do it.
And it's bizarre because that middle school is surrounded by more of the abandoned facility. So like in the parking lot,
exactly.
Like in the parking lot of the middle school, there's just an abandoned building on the right, abandoned building on the left. There's like the soccer field across the parking lot, and then there's like another section of there's like the female section of like dormitory buildings, and then like the abandoned power plant is like right across the creek. It's so bizarre. Like that whole place is just. It's crazy. It really, really is. And that's not even going into the history. I'm just talking about like the planning or the lack of planning that they had for the site. And I get it because it is a sensitive area. But like, guys, there's other like, please, just why?
Yeah, like it's just so like the decision to make it into a kid's school is so questionable.
There's a lot of questionable decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, leaving part of it abandoned is fine, but if you're gonna do that, just like build a fence around it. Why'd you make it a park?
Yeah, that was. Yeah. It makes no sense.
It's just very strange. It's very strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where we are filming parts of our movie. And not movie, short. But it's gonna be very cool.
Cool.
It's a very cool site. I'm not gonna say. I mean, I guess I've already technically said it on the gaming channel, but I'm not gonna say it again because I don't want it to be messed with any more than it already is. Because it is a very sensitive area, and I'm not gonna condone people going in those buildings because, well, there's several reasons: asbestos, police, etc. There's a lot of reasons not to do that kind of stuff unless you know what you're doing. And you're allowed to.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's allowed to go there, but yeah.
No, but I mean, if you get permission from the town, but very rare instances of that.
Highly unlikely.
No, unless it's like an actual like movie production company that paid the town to film there.
Yeah.
And in that case, I think they would have to remove the asbestos, so it wouldn't make. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't ever shoot it here because it's just there's graffiti. It's hard to shoot in there. Health issues, just overall physical dangers there.
Yeah.
We're doing it because we have nowhere else to do it.
Yeah, we're not going in the buildings because that would be
Yeah, we're
illegal.
not go. Yeah, that's illegal. Don't do illegal things, kids. Just don't do it.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that's a wrap for us. So, thank you for joining us on our Cesspool episode.
Yes, episode
Um,
5.
subscribe and like this video. Honestly, just do whatever you want. Like, comment down. Like, I don't care. I honestly don't care. Just give me more subscribers so I can boost my ego.
Exactly. That's all this is for. That's all this is for.
Yeah, this is all to save my sanity from high school and just life.
The wonderful
Life sucks.
future before us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
any last words?
Literally said them.
All right.
Yeah. See you guys next episode.
See you guys then.